Hello, it's Paul Bergin from the Mars Hill blog. You can find me at www.paulbergin.blogspot.co.uk. It's continuing my second part on my vlog on the Scott Amundsen expedition. With regards to Scott, Wilson and Bowers find themselves in the position they're in terms of rescue, I do believe, as I said, that Cherry-Garde was put in an impossible position because he was sent out with the dogs to fill up 1-ton depot. He wondered whether he should have gone another 60 miles, and it tortured him for the rest of his life, because by then might have been too late to save Oates, but it would have come across the other three and lives may have been saved. But he was put in an impossible position, and I think Atkinson and to a certain extent Scott may have to explain himself for that. But Scott, Wilson and Bowers tragically died where they last pitched tent. They left records of the last 2 months of their lives, reaching the South Pole and getting back, and their bodies were discovered 6 months later. Meanwhile, Amundsen arrived back to New Zealand. News came through, and he was fated as the first at the South Pole, except perhaps in Britain to a certain extent. But when Scott's death, the news of that reached the world, that kind of changed people's perceptions. So in a way now, for the last century, Amundsen and Scott, whilst Amundsen is recognised as the first at the South Pole, and what he did was tremendous, Amundsen and achievements are put in line with Scott and what he achieved against the odds. Because I think in some ways he did achieve a lot. Some of the scientific endeavours that helped, the sheer tenacity in the face of great difficulties, I think, proved inspirational, especially during the First World War. And so both are now seen as fairly equal in that race to the South Pole, which might not have happened if Scott had died, or not quite so much perhaps. But you can see the record. You can see it firmly seen as such today at the base, at the scientific base at the South Pole, is known as the Scott Amundsen base, which I think tells you a great deal. Certainly, the whole history of Scott and Amundsen is more than just a simple race to the South Pole. Thank you.